Ag Bioscience, the #1 ag tech podcast globally, is now available on video. Hear from leaders and innovators across food, animal health, plant science, ag tech, and agriculture. Mondays at 6 a.m. on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're there, subscribe and leave us a review. It's the Ag Bioscience Podcast with Agronovis Indiana. Get more information at agronovisindiana.com.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand for Monday, August 17th, 2026. I'm Gary Dick. The LaVern Gibson Championship cross-country course in Terre Haute has been around for 30 years and has grown into one of the top venues of its kind in the nation. It is estimated the course has an annual economic impact of more than $10 million. In November, it will host the NCAA Division I National Championship. Local Convention and Tourism Chief Karen Dyer says the course will be a cornerstone of a soon-to-be-released sports tourism strategy. Winnebago Industries has announced targeted manufacturing adjustments across two of its brands, one of which will have an effect on the company's operations in Elkhart County. The RV manufacturer said operations at its Winnebago Towables production facility in Middlebury will be relocated to a nearby production campus. The facility currently employs 276 people, and a spokesperson says only 4 jobs will be cut. The remaining employees will shift to that nearby campus. One of horse racing's biggest events is heading to Anderson. The Hambletonian Stakes will be held at Harrah's Hoosier Park for 3 years, beginning next year, moving from the Meadowlands in New Jersey, where it's been held for the last 46 years. The Hambletonian Stakes is the largest harness racing event in the world, with a $1 million purse. From the state's #1 source for Indiana business news, you're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
A federal appeals court has affirmed a lower court's dismissal of a lawsuit centered on free speech rights for some IU and Purdue faculty.
The U.S. Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the professors who had sued over the potential impact of Indiana's intellectual diversity law had not shown they have standing to pursue their claim. Judge Joshua Kolar wrote that to have standing, the professors must, quote, show either a credible threat that the state or universities will enforce the law or policies against them, or any objectively reasonable chilling effect on their speech, end quote. IU professor David McDonald had filed the lawsuit on behalf of tenured faculty at Indiana and Purdue University. The law, also known as Senate Enrolled Act 202, went into effect in 2024. It essentially requires professors to teach scholarly works that represent a variety of ideologies to promote free inquiry and expression. McDonald and some other professors started challenging the law before it went into effect. They argued that it had a chilling effect on their free speech rights by forcing them to change how and what they taught, according to Thursday's opinion. The U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Indiana had deemed the professors' fears unreasonable in part because they did not face a credible threat of imminent enforcement. The appeals court agreed that the plaintiffs lacked standing. Judge Frank Easterbrook concurred, noting that many students want an education in which professors encourage a culture of free expression and intellectual diversity. Alex Brown, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
A $28.9 million housing and infrastructure project is underway in Flora, backed by $2.5 million from Indiana's Ready 2.0 program and more than $26 million in local and private matching funds. State and local leaders broke ground Friday on Carriage Estates, a 28-lot subdivision that will include 8 energy-efficient single-family homes. The project also will expand the town's water and sewer infrastructure and make improvements to its wastewater system. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.